This is my informative speech, and this is my audience. The phrase One Direction is no longer just hinting at a traffic sign. Instead, it draws the image of 5 young men, Harry Styles, Niall Horan, Louis Tomlinson, Zayn Malik, and Liam Payne. Like the Wanted in JLS, X Factor contestants One Direction were a group of heartthrobs that helped revive the boy band concept. Unlike those before them, One Direction achieved overnight success, becoming the world's largest boy band since the Beatles. With their catchy pop-rock influenced songs, the band has sold millions of albums along with selling out their past 2 world tours, all while making a movie. The instant success of this band is unprecedented, and it makes it hard to believe they were formed just 4 years ago on the 7th season of X Factor UK. It is undeniable that One Direction has already made an everlasting impact on music. With that being said, let's take a look at how it all began. In 2010, Niall, Zayn, Louis, Liam, and Harry entered the 7th series of X Factor as individuals, making it through the first round with ease. The boys went on to boot camp. However, their time as individual artists on the X Factor would be short-lived. By the end of boot camp, all 5 young men were eliminated as solo artists. Following a suggestion by a guest judge, Simon Cowell grouped them together to become One Direction. While both judges take credit for the idea, in 2013, Simon said he came up with this idea in 10 minutes. Regardless of whose decision it was, it changed the rest of their lives. However, after making it to the finals, they would go on to be eliminated. One Direction finished 3rd. The boys were devastated. Because of their 3rd place finish, many were unsure about the future of this band, but the X Factor wouldn't be the end of them. As soon as the show ended, their fans made it clear that One Direction wasn't done. In fact, they were just getting started. The boys owed their instant success to the commitment of their fans. Shortly after X Factor finale, the band was signed to a $2 million contract with Psycho Records, where they would go on to release their hit single, What Makes You Beautiful, in 2011. What Makes You Beautiful reached number 1 on the UK singles chart after becoming the most pre-ordered single in Sony history. In November of 2011, One Direction was signed to Columbia Records in North America. In early 2012, their UK hit What Makes You Beautiful was released in the US, where it debuted at number 28, becoming the highest debut for a British act since 1998. Eventually, the single sold over 4 million copies. Soon after that, the band embarked on their first tour throughout the UK. In 2012, One Direction released their debut album, Up All Night. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, Up All Night made them the first British group to hit number 1 in the US with a debut album. In turn, the highest debut entry by a British group on the US charts. Soon after they announced the North American and Australian-Asian tour dates, within a few weeks the entire tour was sold out. Following the success of Up All Night, the band released their second album, Take Me Home, which also debuted at number 1 in the US and in the UK. Take Me Home sold 540,000 copies in its first week in the US, debuted at the top of the Billboard 200, and topped the charts in more than 34 other countries. The album was home to their hit singles Up All Night and Little Things. The success of their second album made them the first boy band since the Beatles to have 2 number 1 albums within the same year. After the release of their album, the band embarked on a world tour, selling out prestigious venues like the O2 Arena and Madison Square Garden. Along with the tour came a movie, One Direction, This Is Us. The concert documentary grossed over $60 million worldwide. However, the success would not stop there. In November 2013, the band's 3rd album, Midnight Memories, was released. This album made chart history. According to BBC.com, Midnight Memories entered the Billboard 200 at number 1, making them the only group to have their first 3 albums top the charts in their opening week, which would lead to them breaking their own Guinness World Record. The album included hit singles like Best Song Ever and Story of My Life. This past year, One Direction embarked on their very first stadium tour. Like the other tours, all the shows sold out. According to Forbes.com, the Where We Are tour earned $5 million in gross sales per show. It will have generated the 2nd highest per show gross ever. Overall, the tour will gross over $300 million, which will likely make it the 8th highest grossing tour ever, right between the Rolling Stones and the Police. Along with this tour, One Direction will be releasing another documentary titled One Direction, Where We Are. Recently, the band has begun on their 4th studio album, 4, which will contain 2 of their latest singles, Fireproof and Steal My Girl. The album is set to be released this fall. Other than that, Directioners are unsure about what the future holds for their favorite boys. However, considering the past and the present, the fans are sure that their future is just as bright as it has ever been. In the beginning, they were just a couple of normal boys from working class families, but now they are the largest boy band in the world. Thank you. Is that bad?